I find that like there's maybe a subset of patients that when there is that stressor, and cancer is a big one, there is like a discount or a minimization of like what they are doing. Like, what have you been doing to cope? It's like, I've been doing nothing. So it does take a little bit of a coaxing then to talk about, well, what does it really look like when you have an unpleasant thought or unpleasant sensation, or maybe just that denial comes up, and that grief process. What is it that you're actually doing in that moment? Are you just sitting down and resting? Yeah, that's a coping strategy. Like, resting is important. Like,
Absolutely.
so I always find it interesting that there are those that just aren't able to then articulate what they're doing, or maybe it's that they feel like they're not doing enough. I think that's probably more of the thought that it's like, I'm not doing enough because I still have these feelings, because I still have these thoughts, because it's still here.
Right. And this is more about allowing yourself to get comfortable in a very uncomfortable space. In that I am coping right now by being still, and I'm allowing myself to feel these things, and I'm not going to change them actually. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. I know it might make other people around us, especially our loving family and friends, very uncomfortable when they see us like that. But it is, as long as you're aware of it and conscious of what you're doing, and it's done in a healthy way, I think it's beautiful. I'm self-regulating internally. Like, I am trying to accept where I am. I accept that there is going to be some level of depression, some level of anxiety. I'm not going to be in this space forever, but right now I am, and I'm trying to be okay with that.
Can you explain a cancer lens and some of the narratives that you've encountered?
Yeah. So cancer lens is something that I made up. It's a term that I made up, so no one can Google this one. This is all, but it's just based on a lot of observations over the years, and even in my own personal life, that sometimes post cancer life, or even in the middle of treatment when things are going really bad, um, sometimes people come in and they report these moments of just joy, and in a way that they've never experienced before. And usually it's in the context of like being very, very, very aware of where you are in the moment and where you are in space. And that kind of joy it pushes you over to the point where everything makes sense and everything is worth it, even if it lasts for like a few minutes. And I'll share one of my stories, and maybe another one from a client that I've had. So I remember, so I had radiation to the chest, and before cancer, I used to walk 7, 8 miles a day with a weighted 25-pound weight vest. And so walking and regular exercise were just part of my life. It was just what I did. And I will never forget this. I was walking with two others, and we were going up what I call a big mountain, but it really wasn't. It was just a little hill, and I just couldn't do it. I like could not do it. I was wiped out. I was still recovering, so I had the fatigue. I had this radiation to the chest, which definitely had an impact on me. I was done with chemo, and it was not me. I was somebody that was used to rigorous exercise, and I was young, and I couldn't do it. I just sat there at the bottom of the hill, kind of huffing and puffing, thinking, "Oh man, why did I drag these people out here for a walk? I can't even walk. I like this is ridiculous." And they were really very nice. They were like, "We can just head back. Like, no, we don't have anything to prove to anybody. You don't have to prove it yourself to anybody." And I was like, "Yeah," I was ready to call it. And then all of a sudden, I felt this gust of wind, and I felt it up my legs. And then all of a sudden I was like energized, and I was like, "No, I got this." And I did it, and we went on, and I dragged these poor girls like 5 more miles. And so something had shifted there. Like, what happened? There was the physical sense, and there was the physical elements that for sure were there. They were present. I mean, I'm not going to deny that there's fatigue and all of the things that come post cancer treatment. But there was something else there. And it was this consciousness that I had gained in that moment of where I was in time, of the elements around me. Something about that wind. And I looked at them and I was like, did you guys feel it? And they were like, what? And I was like, that like breeze. And they were like, yeah, we felt it. Whatever, yeah, of course we felt, but they didn't feel it the way I did. I had this like heightened experience that I was aware of at that moment. Like, oh man, they don't get it. They don't get it. There was a breeze, and it just sounded so weird to them, but it gave me this different perspective and this ability to go on. And I hear it all the time for my patients. One patient went on a cruise post stomach cancer, and she looked out and she said, and the way that she described it, I was like, oh, that's the cancer lens. Her dad was a physician and he had her in treatment very quickly. And she was on a cruise with her whole family, and she looked over and she said, I saw my dad, and the sun was just like setting, and his silhouette, and I just felt so emotional, and I cried, and I thought, oh my God, I'm so thankful for that man. I couldn't have gotten here without him. And that feeling, I never want it to go away. Is this going to fade? People always ask that, is this going to fade? Or is this, and I'm like, oh man, like that's the cancer lens. That's this cancer perspective. And sometimes it just hits us when we're not really expecting. It's not like we're going out and looking for it, but sometimes we're just moved by where we are and what is happening around us, and this like, I'm alive, and I'm alive to see this and witness this and feel this. And it's that awareness of it. That's the cancer lens.
One thing I was thinking about as I was listening to you talk about your personal experience with that cancer lens was that like having an afterburner, or of getting that second
Yeah.
wind, or
Yes.
the way you described then having some of that clarity. It just made me think of like the movie The Matrix, where Neo's finally been seeing everything for what it is. He's having that clarity,
Yes.
powerful moment, and maybe that epiphany of where they are, and where you are, or whatever, where we're going to refer this as, like being in that present moment.
Yeah, that's exactly, and the matrix often comes up in therapy, and that's exactly what it is. It's just being very aware of where you are and the reality of everything, and this veil that's like lifted over your eye, and you can see very clearly. I'm not in the hospital right now. I am walking, and I just felt that breeze. And when you have experienced something like cancer, um, it you're very much aware that when you're not in it, you're not in it, and we're thankful for that.
Yeah, this part of the discussion actually kind of reminds me of after I was doing chemo in the hospital for a month. I was there for a month, and it was one day I just looked out the window and there's these beautiful mountains out the window, and I was
Yeah,
like, wow, there's like an outside. Look at there's this like big
yeah,
world out there, and it's like endless, and it was like this
yeah,
big expansive feeling. It was like almost I forgot about the world outside because I was just like trying to survive.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like you become so like blinded by the process that you're not necessarily open to those other things that are around you, and even just being able to see like the mountains or the nature, you're like
yeah,
blown away by it.
yeah.
You turned into Keanu Reeves right there.
And that's exactly what it is. It's like really realizing what's in front of you. You might talk to a nurse and be like, "Do you see those mountains? There's a world outside." And they're like, "Yeah, all right." And but they don't see it the way that you do, and that is the cancer lens. Is very unique, and very special.
Yeah, or eating food outside of the hospital after being in there for a long time. You're like, oh my gosh, this bean dip is incredible. Are you guys tasting this? And I was like, it's bean dip. Chill.
Exactly.
Don't get Dustin started on bean dip.
Oh man, I think we're there. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's like such a gift. I'm going to go out and use that word. It's a big loaded word, but it is a gift. It's a gift to be able to see the world for what it is and to appreciate it